And look, another buffalo. So it looks like the whole pride is here. And it's very interesting. It doesn't look like much of that buffalo has been fed on, actually. But look at this. It's amazing. So I wonder if that male didn't come from the side. I think he did. And let's have a look off to the right, Brian. Sorry, I just saw these cubs now. They were just holding this tree and stretching their claws. Let's see if they try and climb up again. Oh, these cubs are wonderful. So I wonder if that, I'm pretty sure that male must have been in this area because he looked really full. But like I said, really doesn't look like much of this buffalo has been fed on. I couldn't really see on the other side. So maybe he did feed a bit and decided to move off. Although I think they've been looking full the last week or so because of all the food that they've eaten. Barb and Laura wanted to know about the black markings behind the lion's ears, and you can see that clearly now. And you want to know, what is that for? Is it to protect their ears against the sun? No, it is not. So Barb and Laura, that is there specifically for lions to be able to follow each other. So the theory is that it's a markings to allow them to follow one another when they are moving through thickets and moving around and through long grass, so they can see, especially when they're hunting, so they can communicate without making a sound. They can see where one another are going. The other thing is, it is considered, well, they use it as what is the correct word now? Give me a second. I stand to correction, but I think the correct term is agnostic behavior, and that is aggressive behavior. So, if I show you quickly. So, what happens is, say for example, we were doing a bush walk, and we walked along and we bumped into these lions. For them to show that they are aggressive, and obviously they will start growling, but also what they do is they pin their bodies down, and they turn those ears, and they put those ears flat against their head, and they growl and they snarl, and those black markings then become very clear when they're looking at you. So it's a sign of aggression, and that's what agnostic behavior means, is a sign of aggression. Again, I want to double check myself with that word, but I think I'm right. So it's basically to show aggression and for them to follow each other when they are walking. That's what those black markings are for. And you see, they probably started to feed on the rump area of that buffalo because that's where all the soft meat is, easy to get in there. Oh, there is a big elephant around here, everyone. I saw his tracks, and I can hear him at the moment. He's off to our left. I can't see him, but I can just hear branches breaking. They're probably about 100 to 150 meters away from us. If he does come into view, we'll show him to you. He's doing some damage to the trees. I can hear the grey go-away birds calling, "Go away, go away." Very strange sound. And I just saw an eagle fly behind us, and that's exactly what they were alarm calling at. It sat down. Let me see. It was an African hawk eagle, everyone. I just saw it. It's a bit far and behind some trees for Brian now, so I don't think he'll be able to show you. And that's what caused those birds to alarm call. These hawk eagles do hunt other birds, especially francolins and guinea fowl. But the grey go-away birds are always keen to alarm call if there's a predator around. Look how that lioness is licking that buffalo, everyone. Do you see that? Now, they've got very, very rough tongues, and it almost looks barbed. If you're able to really zoom in on that tongue, it's got little fine hairs on it. It's very, very rough. And they'll lick to maybe get rid of some of the hair, or even open the carcass a little bit, pull the skin back, and then they'll feed on it some more. So you're going to sit with these lions for a while. I think these cubs are still feeding with the females, so we should get some activity here for a bit. And while I do that, we mentioned an elephant. Oh, look at that cub just jumping straight over the buffalo. Mentioned an elephant, and James has got one to show you. There's a lot of activity here, everyone. The cubs are jumping around, trying to feed on a bit of meat, and the one lioness is getting very agitated with them. They're growling, and there's been a lot of noises coming from them. Hopefully they'll do that again while you're watching. Annie, all the way from British Columbia, wants to know if these cats apply more pressure when they're licking the skin of these buffalo to try and get the... Have a look at that cub, everyone. And see, there we go. Oh, listen to that. So Annie just wanted to know, do I think they apply more pressure when licking the skin of an animal like this, trying to open up, get rid of some of that hair, and pull the skin back, as opposed to when they are grooming one another? I'm not sure, Annie, I'm not sure, but it would make sense. It would make sense that they do apply a bit more pressure when trying to lick and clean a carcass like this, as opposed to just when they're grooming themselves. But I think that those tongues are so rough. So, you know, I think either one could is probably just as much pressure, but I do think if they're licking a certain spot for a long time, they'll start pulling off the skin and the hair. Oh, look at that little one. Some remains of blood on it, just from feeding, and that will all get cleaned off. At some point, the lionesses, the other cubs will clean each other. The lionesses will clean the cubs, and they'll clean themselves very well. But isn't this amazing? Look at them feeding. Wow, this is great. Really is incredible. That little cub, I think, is going to get himself into some trouble, or herself. Trying to stick its head in the... Oh, there you see? Just a little... Listen to those sounds, everyone. Smart lion cub impression. Can you see there? Look where she's licking. It has become a lot smoother there. See that? Pulling that skin off completely, or the hair. Look there. Wow. That is amazing. Now you can see it clearly. She's trying to open some of that skin, but with her licking there constantly, she pulls it off. And look at how she's chewing. She's now using what we call a carnassial shear, and you can actually hear her crunching. So the carnassial shear is that the side of her mouth, the back teeth, molars and the premolars, actually end in a sharpened edge, and they overlap each other slightly. If you look at a predator's skull, you can see that clearly with those teeth. And they'll use the front teeth to tear open the carcass, but when she does want to chew, cut and tear the meat off, she'll use the side of her mouth. And watch when she does it, everyone. You'll see, I'm sure she'll do it again, and she'll use the side where, obviously that's where the power is, the strong powerful jaws. She will feed on them, or feed on the carcass and tear the meat with that carnassial shear. Looks like that little cub's almost trying to fall asleep on the buffalo. Still sticking its head in the way of the mother. It's taking chances. Or the female rather, not sure if it is the mother of this cub. There, look, you see? Chewing with the side of her mouth. Do you see that, everyone? And you can hear her crunching away there. So she'll tear with the front teeth. Again, this cub in the way. Watch her, might get a little growl. Just a little warning. Nothing. She's going to bite the cub if she's not careful, or if that cub's not careful. Look at that. I don't know what it wants. Why doesn't it just go around and feed where the other cub is? A little growl. It's incredible just to hear the sounds that these lions make when they are feeding. Trying to see around the back if I can see how much of this buffalo has been fed on. Can't really see that rump area. It doesn't look like a lot of it's been eaten, but these buffalo are infested with ticks. It looks like it. There are ticks all over. You see there, look at all those ticks. It fell off completely. Oh dear. Djuma, I'm sorry, we're not meant to laugh at the little cub, but that was quite funny, you must admit. As the lioness pulled the carcass, it wasn't concentrating and rolled off. But it's back up there. You can imagine how powerful those jaws are of these lions. Very, very powerful. Able to chew through the tough skin of the buffalo and get to the meat. Justin wants to know how many licks does it take for a lion to get to the center of the buffalo. So it's 6, Justin. I'm joking. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. But if you look, that lioness she's licked three or four times in that one spot, and you can see how bare it is already. So I'm not sure. I think if they lick one area constantly, probably 5 to 10 licks, and they'll probably get to the meat. They probably open up the carcass, I think, but I'm not entirely sure. I've not been licked by a lion, so I don't know how tough or rough that tongue is. I don't want to be licked by a lion, but you can definitely see it working on that little section that she is licking there. This is really wonderful because there's a lot of interaction going on here, and it's just fantastic just to watch and appreciate the sighting. Don't really have to say too much here because everything's going on, and you can watch what they're doing, watch them feeding, and listen to the sounds. Listen. Some more cubs moving in there. As I said, we're going to sit here for a while, everyone, so don't worry. Not going to miss anything if anything else changes. And we're still sitting with the Nkuhuma Pride, everyone, and there's still a lot of feeding activity on this buffalo. Have a look there, these cubs with the lioness. I wonder if these cubs will if they're ever going to be disappointed with a meal when they get something other than buffalo. If it's an impala or a warthog, they're probably going to say, well, this is not what we're used to. Where's the beef? Madeline from New Mexico wants to know if those ticks possibly jump off the carcass at times and jump onto the lions. So Madeline, it's almost a guarantee. I'm sure that some of those ticks move off the carcass onto the lions, but the lions do clean themselves regularly, so they probably manage to get those ticks off them, not like the buffalo. And we've seen ticks on lions, so the chances, you would think that those ticks do come off the buffalo and onto the lions. And I also think these lions sometimes eat some of those ticks because they sit on that carcass. And they chew around there, and they're most likely chew. Oh, gee, see that little cub took a bite at the mother. That's brave. So just speaking about the ticks again, so I wouldn't be surprised if they eat some of these ticks. They chew on them with all the meat. Now, just with that situation right there, we've spoken about it a little bit. Look at that. Watch that, isn't that incredible? Okay, now we spoke about this earlier, and now that is one of the mothers. Okay, and look how aggressive she is being towards these cubs. She's being very stern. She's not really hurting them, but she is being aggressive. She's growling. She's smacking them a little bit because they are getting in her way. Now that is the mother doing that. Imagine one of those big males, the Birmingham males, if they are feeding. If those little cubs were around, they would get they would get a serious hiding or beating from those males. Look how those cubs are clawing at one another. So this is why listen to those sounds, incredible. So this is why I say lions, doesn't matter if they're in the pride, out the pride, brothers, sisters, fathers, daughters, whoever, the aggression around a kill is very, very clear. It's survival of the fittest. They all want the best bit of meat. And look at this behavior. You can see it clearly. It really is incredible. And that's why I say these females are always nervous when these males come in, especially when they've got a kill. And they'll often take the cubs away a little bit until the male starts to relax, because when they get in, they're hyped up, they're excited, there's now food, and they get very aggressive around a kill. And that's why you see all the scarring around these animals' faces, because they often paw and claw one another, bite one another, trying to get the best piece of meat. I'm so glad you actually got to see that interaction, because it is something we mention occasionally, and you don't often see it unless you are at a kill when they're all feeding. Then you do see it, and it's even more clear when you have a pride that haven't eaten for a few days, and they manage to kill something, especially if it's a small kill like an impala or a small antelope. An inyala or a kudu. With a pride like this, they'd probably get very aggressive if they hadn't eaten for a while, because now they all want this meat. Look at those sharp claws of the cubs just under the neck of that female, holding onto the carcass while it's trying to feed. Incredible. Some of those sounds are coming from those little cubs. It's amazing how they can growl at an early age. Listen to them. That is impressive. Well, the sounds at the moment are just incredible. I'm just going to sit here. I don't have to say anything. I find it fascinating, the sounds that those little cubs can make from this young age. Is that Taylor's favourite little cub, the one with the floppy ear? The one on the buffalo, I think so. Yes, Flip-Flop. It looks like it is Flip-Flop. I actually didn't tell Taylor that I'd named the cub for her. I wonder what she thinks about that. So Taylor is sitting in FC and she says it's a wonderful name. You see, Taylor can say what she wants in FC, but I'm the one that's live, so I can decide what I want to say. Oh, look how powerful that lioness is, everyone. Look how she's able, I mean, the cub's holding on and she's still pulling that carcass and moving it too. Lions are incredibly powerful animals. There are two cubs on the other side that are really having a go at one another. They're getting very aggressive. look at some paws being thrown around, scratching. Really, really amazing. Watching the other vehicle trying to get out of here too. It's not that easy when you've got a vehicle full of guests and trying to maneuver through the bush. That little one at the back there, and you can just see the forehead and the eyes. It is incredibly aggressive. It keeps growling and swiping and trying to bite the other cubs and the female. There's the one there too. Well, everyone, it's very hard to top a lion sighting like this because of all this activity and the sounds and the interaction between these lions. It really is very, very special. Glad you all able to watch it with us. Yeah, I just heard the vehicle breaking some branches as it drove out, so they all stopped to listen and just have a look. Seem to be breathing quite heavily there. Oh, again, a few swipes at one another. Okay, we're going to sit with these lions right till the end, everyone. Let's head back to my dear friend James and see what he has found for you or what he is up to. These lions are still having their breakfast, James. And James is going to head back to the lodge, as he said, and start making my cup of coffee. Don't forget, James, stir anti-clockwise, please. It's really been so wonderful to see all the interaction with these cubs, everyone, in this lioness feeding. And you can see actually just off to the left there is that lioness cleaning one of the cubs. Remember we spoke about it. I just said that the lions were covered in blood, and you will probably see them cleaning one another, and the lionesses especially cleaning the little cubs. And that's what she's doing there. And you see, she's probably finding little ticks and picking the ticks off. So a lot of cleaning and grooming going on now while they are feeding. James, you were saying it this morning was a great way to see the difference between how leopard families and lion families, or the pride of lions and a leopard family, share their kill. It's very interesting. Now, I'm assuming, I don't exactly know what happened this morning at the kill with the leopards, but I'm assuming that they took turns to feed separately, and that is usually... So Kirsten has just confirmed that for me. That is usually how leopards feed. They'll feed one at a time and then move off once the kill's finished. Whereas lions, we can see they all feed together, and so it is interesting. They are very different, James, and well spotted, and a nice comment about the difference between these different predators and their behavior when they are feeding. It's very interesting, and it's interesting to notice some of that. So we're starting to run out of time, everyone, but these lions, I am assuming, are probably going to be here for the rest of the day. There's a possibility they may go look for water. We've seen this Nkuhuma Pride moving randomly during the day, but I do think it's still, for the moment, it's still very cool. So they're happy to lie out in the open, but if the day does warm up, they'll probably go and look for some shade. There are some nice big trees around, so there is shade for these animals. But what a fantastic morning. Great to see that big male and hear him roar, following him around, and then to find the pride with their kill, another buffalo. I'm going to say goodbye to all of you, and so from